The minor benefit exemption is a really important source of potential savings when completing FBT returns. Most people know the essentials that a benefit that is valued at less than $300 and provided on an irregular and infrequent basis will be treated as exempt from FBT. In practice, a lot of employers use the minor benefit exemption, but it's pretty important to be aware that how it's used can be reviewed by the tax office. There's fairly limited guidance on things like what is too frequent when applying the exemption. So, for example, you might take a conservative approach and say 4 to 6 times per year for a particular category is sufficiently infrequent, but different approaches can be taken, and that might come down to your risk appetite. You might be interested to know that there have been several private rulings issued by the tax office looking at different scenarios to do with the minor benefit exemption, and particularly in relation to meal entertainment, where it's really common to apply this exemption when the actual method is used. One of the really interesting things that has come up is that it can't really be assumed that even things that seem reasonably small and, dare I say, minor, might not indeed qualify from the tax office's point of view if they're considered too either frequent or regular. So an example in one of the recent private rulings was around monthly team lunches. They were very clearly for work-related purposes and they were of a very light nature, but they were held on external premises and they were on a regular monthly basis. And the tax office said that they weren't eligible for the minor benefit exemption. Now, private rulings are only binding on the taxpayer that they're provided to, but it's good to get some insight into the sort of scenarios that the tax office looks at and to understand their point of view. There are a few tricks in relation to minor benefits. Do you know, for example, what the position is if you had both an employee receiving a Christmas gift as well as attending a Christmas party? What about if both their spouse and themselves attended the Christmas party and the collective cost was more than $300? Or what if you gave them two vouchers that each individually were worth less than $300 but collectively exceeded the $300 level? All of these sorts of slightly more complex scenarios are the sort of things that you need to be clear on what the approach is to make sure that you're not incorrectly applying the minor benefit exemption, or conversely, making sure that you're making the most of it and applying it wherever it can be applied. So the minor benefit exemption is just one of the tricky areas that we'll be going through in my FBT basics workshop. If you'd like more information, I've provided a link to register. My name's Tanya Ross Jones. This is an Andante Consulting Tax Update.